Hello and welcome to this video. This is the first video out of many of the videos that I will be creating where I am going to discuss the certification question and answer related to AWS Cloud Certification. AWS Cloud Certification is a very fundamental certification and is the best certification to get started in your cloud journey. The first question is, your company wants to monitor API calls made to your AWS account for security analysis and troubleshooting purpose. Which AWS service should you use? We will be given four options usually, and the four options that we are given here is AWS Trusted Advisor, AWS Config, AWS CloudTrail, and AWS IAM. Now, how do we go about answering this particular question? Let's try to see what are the options that don't really fit to this particular question. AWS Config is not the right one and AWS IAM is not the right one because they don't really speak about monitoring the API calls made to our AWS account. So AWS Trusted Advisor and AWS CloudTrail are our two best options. So AWS Config is not present and AWS IAM is also not present. So out of AWS Trusted Advisor and CloudTrail, which can be much suitable, right? The answer here is AWS CloudTrail. So why is AWS CloudTrail responsible for? So whenever we have an AWS account, so this is our AWS account, whatever traffic comes in and goes out is monitored by CloudTrail. This is the first thing that we have to remember. Now remember, what I'm telling is about AWS account. I'm not speaking about VPC. We might have multiple VPCs here like this. So VPC 1, VPC 2, etc. But that is not the concern here. We are speaking of every incoming and outgoing traffic to our AWS account will be monitored in CloudTrail. Meaning every action that is performed, that can be login action, that can be the logout action, or any of the API calls made for our EC2 instance, RDS instance, etc. will be captured in CloudTrail. If we are able to effectively build a dashboard on CloudTrail, then we are able to see all of this information. So the right answer is AWS CloudTrail. Of course, you might be getting confused with the Trusted Advisor, but you can see that Trusted Advisor is just going to advise you on what changes you have to make on your AWS account. But the question here is to monitor the API calls made to your AWS account for security analysis, and the right answer is AWS CloudTrail. Let's go to the next question now. Before going to the next question, if you are interested to take a 5-star reviewed course in Udemy related to cracking the DevOps interview, then this particular link is in the description. It has a very special discount code for you, so using which you can subscribe to this course or take this course. Currently, we have more than 19,000 students who have taken this course and benefited from it. Let us now jump into our second question. The second question is, you are deploying an application using AWS Management Console. However, you would like to automate this deployment in order to ensure it can be consistently reproduced into multiple environments. Which AWS service would you use for this purpose? Let us see the options. The option is AWS CLI, AWS SDK, AWS CloudFormation, and AWS Lambda. Let us try to understand this question a bit more. So we have the AWS account, and inside this AWS account, we have resources. Now these resources can be EC2, RDS, VPC, etc. Now I can create this from the console, that is the AWS console. Now what is the question focusing on? The question is focusing on the automation of this deployment in order to ensure consistently and reproduced in multiple AWS environments. Now, can I do that in AWS CLI? Technically, yes. Can I do that using AWS SDK? Technically, yes. Can we do it with CloudFormation? Yes. Can we do it with AWS Lambda? No. So this option doesn't exist. Now, how do I choose from these three options? Now, technically, we can do it from CLI and SDK. But can we reproduce this consistently across multiple AWS accounts? No. You will have to write additional scripts to do this with CLI. So that is not an option. And so with SDK. The right option here is the AWS CloudFormation. Okay. Let us go to the next question. Next question is, your company is considering the migration from a monolith architecture to a decoupled architecture for its application. Which of the following statements correctly illustrates a potential benefit of this migration? The options are: application can scale individual components based on their specific demand, application will be less resilient to failure, the application will become more interdependent, allowing faster development, an application will have smaller architecture leading to easier management. Now, before I go ahead and tell you the right answer, let us first understand what do we mean by a monolith and a microservice or decoupled architecture. Let us say we have a web application. Now, this is supported by an EC2 and an RDS. And all of the developers are making changes onto this particular EC2 instance in RDS. This web application has many components. So we have a login page, we have the product page, then we have pay page or payout page where they can pay out and buy things. So they have different multiple applications that are actually combined into one particular application. And this is what we call as a monolith architecture. This has some advantages and disadvantages. The advantages is you can move fast, definitely, but you cannot scale fast because everything is dependent on this architecture. Testing becomes difficult and scalability also becomes difficult. Now imagine the same web app. We have the same web app, but here what is happening is we have a login application that is deployed separately. It's a separate stack. Then we have the product application that is also a separate stack. And then we have the pay application, which is also a separate stack. So all of this can have a simultaneous deployment happening. So we can have CI/CD for all of them separately set up, and testing all of them can be easy. Now the question is, we have a sale happening on our website. So out of these three, which of the application do I have to scale? Technically, we have to scale all the three. But we might be interested in scaling more the product page first and then also the payout page. Because many people might not actually log into the application. Without logging in, they might want to check all the products to see what of the products are there in sale and then probably pay for all of these products without actually creating or logging an account and just pay with the guest user. So if you want to scale the application separately, it is possible in this particular case. And this is what we call as a microservice architecture or a distributed architecture. Now that we are aware of this information, let us go back to our question. In this question, let me first show you what is the right answer. The right answer is the applications can scale individual components based on their specific demand. Why is this the right answer? You can quickly say this. So let us see the other option. The application will be less resilient to failure. This is false because when we have the applications in different apps, so the web app is having login page, a product page, and the payout page. The changes on payout page will not affect the product or the login page. Then the application will become more interdependent, allowing faster deployment. This is true. The application will become more interdependent. Yes, allowing faster deployment is also true. But remember that failure in the login page again doesn't affect the product page. So interdependency is true, but they are not limited, or the functionality of one application doesn't affect the other. The application will have a simpler architecture leading to easier management. This is false because with monolith architecture, you will actually have more infrastructure to maintain. So this is not actually a simpler architecture. This is false. So let us go to the right answer. The application can scale individually. Yes, we can scale the product page, but not the login page. And it means that the components based on the demand can be scaled individually, and hence this is the right answer. I hope you were able to understand these three questions related to the certification. There will be more videos coming, and again, if you're interested in the Udemy course, go to the description section, buy this special discounted interview preparation course in Udemy. That is it for this video. Speak with you in the next video. Thank you.